There's four areas of the Christian heart that can't be faked when it comes to a biblical worldview on money. But first, if we haven't met, my name is David Sandu, and I'm a financial advisor. And at Brighter Wealth, we help Christians become brighter stewards of God's wealth. Today, we're talking about financial stewardship, and there's really four key areas of someone's heart where someone needs to focus on to have a biblical worldview on finances. The first one is stewardship. The second is faith. The third is contentment, and the fourth is wisdom. When we talk about stewardship, the key question here is, do I really believe that God owns it all? And the scripture here that I use with my clients is Psalm 24:1. The earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof, the world and all that dwell in it. That's the first area, stewardship. The second is contentment. The scripture here is Philippians 4:11-13. And actually, this scripture, I believe, that says I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength, is a lot of times it's taken out of context. But really here, Paul is talking about, I have learned to be content, whatever the circumstance. I know what it is to be in need, and I know what it is to have plenty. I have learned the secret of being content in every situation, whether well-fed or hungry, whether living in plenty or in want. I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. And so contentment is really the second heart belief that a Christian needs to have for a biblical worldview on finances. The third is faith. Hebrews 11 says, without faith, it is impossible to please God. So if I believe that without faith, it's impossible to please God, and I believe that God owns it all, how am I integrating my faith with the way that I believe that God owns it all? So am I integrating the way that I'm operating in my financial world, right? The way I spend, the way I invest, the way I give, the way I operate financially towards others? Am I using my faith to operate in those decisions? And then finally, the fourth is wisdom. Do I believe that God's wisdom is true and available to me for my finances? So wisdom here, James 1:5 says, if any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to you. So those are the four key areas I believe that someone with a biblical worldview, if they want to enact a biblical worldview on their finances, those are the four key areas I would focus on: stewardship, contentment, faith, and wisdom. And I'll say this, it's really hard in today's world to adopt a biblical worldview on finances because the culture and a lot of societal norms are trying to push us away from a heart of stewardship, from a heart of contentment, from a heart of faith, and from a heart of wisdom. A lot of worldly wisdom doesn't really coincide with godly wisdom. When I hear in Hebrews 11 that without faith it's impossible to please God, that's not really what the world says. Same thing with stewardship. The earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. If I believe and I operate from a worldview that God owns it all, that he really owns it all, then I have to ask myself, how would God handle my finances? If I'm a manager and a steward of his resources, how am I stewarding his wealth? Am I spending it to the glory of God? Am I giving it to the glory of God? Am I investing to the glory of God? All of these areas, am I doing them to the glory of God? And same thing with contentment. This is a really hard issue that's fighting against a secular worldview, because society tells us to lust after and to be jealous of and to have a greedy heart when it comes to this world and to gain as much as you can in this world. But I really believe if you're looking for a biblical worldview, then these four key areas, stewardship, contentment, faith, and wisdom, will help you unlock God's true purpose for money in your life. This is Brighter Wealth. Thanks for watching.